So the fight between Obito, Naruto, and the Great Ninja War has finally ended, or has it? And another big question was this a great fight? Was this a bad fight? What are the questions to it right now? I think I'm going to give you a few answers of my opinions right now. So we see from this start of this episode that we see that the 10-tailed beast is being released, and you see like Naruto inside of like Obito's mind right now, and he's like offering the hand, and we've been seeing that for a while of like all of the episodes, and it's just like his final decision was like, "Nah, motherfucker, I'm gonna choke you the fuck out." It was like he's literally like freaking grabbing him by one hand and just squeezing that scrawny little neck of his, and he's like, "Nah, fuck you, I can't let it go." And that just goes to show that's better more for Obito, that he just can't forgive the world. He just cannot forgive the world for like such the shitty hand that he's been dealt with. And it's just like, nah, fuck this. And it's literally, he had to have like, it was kind of like a wake-up call. It was like saying, Rin does not want to see you like this. If Rin like was still alive to this day, she would not want to see you as this person. She wants to see you as Obito Uchiha, not this like person who's just full of bitterness and hatred towards the world, because I didn't get to save the girl I loved in the end. My friend was excelling at me like in every other way. It's just like it was a real. I think that was the heart here. That was like the final nail on like Obito's demise right there. That it was just like, damn, I finally realized that I fucked up. And that's just one thing I really loved about that fucking chapter. That's one thing I really loved about this episode. It was going through that stuff and it really just was enjoyable. And then when they were pulling out like the 10-tail beasts, they finally did it like that, and you get to see like all the tail beasts just come out of there. You get to see Shukaku again. When the fuck was Shukaku ever pretty much relevant until like the start of Naruto Shippuden, and he just got sucked in by Gaara? Like, when the hell have we ever seen him again? We've seen like all the other ones come back and they're like thanking Naruto and saying, "Yeah, you got me out of here." And that's the thing about it as well. Like, we've got all these tail beasts now, and they're still saying, "Oh shit, we still gotta look for fucking Madara." Like, after pretty much this, Naruto literally went straight to Madara to deal with him. It's surprised we didn't even see it then, because he was like there ready to throw a giant, massive Rasen Shuriken at him. And it's just one thing. It's like, it's just so weird. It kind of got more emotional. It was more like kind of weird in the manga, and I really did love that they did like a better way in the anime when he was just like there looking at the sky, literally like there just looking up, and he's just thinking about all his actions he's done. Like, could have done a different path or something like that. Could I not gone to this state? It just puts his hand up in the air and he just goes Rin like that. It was so wrong in the manga, but I think this was a lot more emotional. Just the way that they did it in this episode was just so much better than what I think like the manga was doing, because it felt like just so weird in the manga. So like when Sasuke was going in, I've got to give props to Sasuke. He isn't in this sort of stuff, the bad guy gets up, we're all friends again. He's like, "No, I'm killing this guy right now," as he's going charging in, going to kill Obito. But he's stopped by Kakashi and he's saying, "No, I've got to do this. I'm his friend," like that. And then even fucking, everyone was stopping each other with just a giant conga line of stopping people. And he was seeing like, "No, you're his friend." Like, you have the same thing as like Naruto and Sasuke. And that's the thing, is like Naruto's dad Minato was actually criticizing, saying, "You're not the one that should have like criticized him. I mean, yeah, you're the main character and you got like all the powers and shit, but fuck it. Like, you're the one that kind of stopped it." But it's like, it's Kakashi that needs to knock sense into him. It's like, what you have to do with Sasuke right now. This is what he's doing right now with Obito. So you can have like a giant, like there's a huge comparison between the two. I mean, you got Sasuke. He always excelled at, school and stuff like that. He was a genius child and stuff like that, loved by the girls and everything like that. And, it's the same thing with Kakashi as well. He was loved by everyone like that when he was little, and he was an awesome, freaking ninja. Made it like one of the youngest Jonins, like next to like Itachi Uchiha. And it's just the biggest comparison between Obito and Naruto. That's what made it like a great comparison in this episode. And it's just like, yeah, this episode was near upon perfect right until the end, saying, you could have had a different path and all that. It's like, the reason why you failed is because you didn't have no one like that. And the reason why, like, Kakashi is able to still keep going to this day is because he's got people like Naruto. He's got his friends. He's got people like Guy. They're like the ones that, like, pulled him out of that darkness that he had. Like, when he lost, like, when he thought he lost him, when he thought he had, like, when he lost Rin, he had to kill Rin. When he, like lost his sensei, Minato, he's like, at that point, he had nothing, and all he had left were like, oh, these stupid little fucking kids like that. It's like, and that's what pulled Kakashi out of there, and he never had anything like that. He just like took on the mantle of Madara, and that was the only thing that he had going on in his life, and it was just like living in a shadow, and it's like all he saw was nothing but hatred. All he saw was nothing but anger in that like one eye. He just hated the world for what the shit hand he got dealt with, but. I mean, the only issue I had with this episode was just literally like, oh, we had to just recap of Kakashi Garden. I was like, we kind of already know. We already don't need to see the Kanami Bridge again and stuff like that. We kind of get, what that was and all that. and how big of a monumental moment that was in the series. But I guess it was just recapping saying, you know, we ended up from there, Kakashi Gaiden, and now we're here to right to the end of the fight with Obito. Otherwise, I absolutely loved this episode of Naruto Shippuden. I thought this was an absolutely great episode. Just had, like, we had the finale of the fight, and I think that this was he's a misunderstood villain. Like, you know, we all do stupid shit. We all do fucked up stuff, and Obito is just a clear point example of what, you know, people do, like mistakes and stuff like that. And he just couldn't get himself out of that mistake. He just kept, you know, digging more burrow into the rabbit hole, and it's just like, do anymore, but I'm just going to keep to my ways. And that's one thing I kind of like. He kept his ways until, like, to the bitter end of this and all that. And it's like, only literally till seeing, like, once he was on the floor defeated to actually have time to think about it. I was like, yeah, I never really did have something like that. Maybe if I sit down and fought for a second, then maybe I could have actually done something. But other than that, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought this was a 9 out of 10, some great stuff. And, you know, next week looks kind of interesting. We've got, you know, all the tail beasts out. We've got Madara now about to go in. So, yeah, I'm very excited for next week's episode. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But that's all from me. So thank you very much for watching as always. And I'll see you guys next time.